have any people here. Well, welcome back to the show. This is Against the Wall. If you're here because you... Well,
Jesus left Tulsa.
Jesus done left. All right, now, I put this... I was joking, Dr. Carpenter. Hour number 2 here of Against the Wall. I have Dr. Carpenter of Medical Conspiracy and LaceMed Inc. and her co-host and good friend Randy is with us. Randy.
Hey, man.
And I often joke. I used to always joke, but if I change the name of my show to Naked Beer or Naked Boobs and Cold Beer, I'd get my listenership would like triple and
oh, hey, JJ
so
put up a
I figured Against the Wall, I'd find this picture of some seductive woman up against the wall. And
exactly.
Don't you know my daughter, my daughter, the mother of my grandson, calls my wife within like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure she's not going to appreciate it.
No, she's not. I shouldn't have did it. I thought I was being funny, but I guess I wasn't. So if that's the link you clicked and then all of a sudden you found yourself here listening to me, I'm sorry. I apologize. I won't.
Yeah, well, so did your daughter tell you you're a chauvinist?
No. Nah, I really am not.
But she might. I know my father was, so,
I'm not. I've been married. I've been together with my wife for my entire adult life, really, so. You know what? The reason that you're here, all right, the first thing that I'm very interested in is the list of reasons their probable cause, that they, for the warrant to raid you to begin with. Now, these have to be reviewed by a judge and then the warrant issued if I'm still on planet United States here.
I just popped it into your chat. The link is there in your chat board, ftpcontent.world now, and it goes on. But that's the affidavit. It's 28 pages long. They came in, they raided her office. They did not give her a copy of this. All she got was paperwork of the actual warrant. This is the paper that they gave the judge saying, please, sir, these are the reasons why we think we should go in and seize and, search and seize.
And the affidavit was posted by our friend Gestapo Helga.
Lori Colbert.
Yeah, that she's acting like a Gestapo, and she's always saying a slanderous thing about us, and so she posted that one.
KOTV News on 6, Tulsa.
Yeah, and JJ said that Jesus left Tulsa. With those events, I would say so. Yes. Okay.
So they're saying that they're saying that you're involved in a fraudulent scheme which you promote and administer misbranded drugs, and what they're talking about is the dye.
Yeah.
What they're
it's not
saying,
even a drug.
No.
Better call Kool-Aid and Jell-O.
Yeah. They said that first of all, the LaceMed Inc. was a retail store. Okay,
right.
And it shows our location with the suite 204 and 205 with the name of the company, which right there in itself shows their offices. It's an small office park with the lake nearby. So right there is not a store, but they say it was a store, and we were adulterating drugs, mixing and adulterating drugs, and then we were holding them for resale. And we were adulterating medical devices. I like to know how you adulterate medical devices, and we were holding the stock for resale. And there was nothing of it. We don't. There was no mention of the fact that we offer a treatment, not for the first 20 pages or so, 25. Then at the very end, they say, well, we are selling false hope. Based on what? The complaint?
Yeah, the first few pages are the credentials of the investigator. I've investigated this and worked for you.
Yeah, and
look at his resume. Look at his resume down there. What does it say? Secret Service Academy. The guy's I won't say it on the air, but yeah.
So there's no drugs at all. You don't use drugs.
We don't do drugs, and if you read the website, that's the thing that is advertised. And they say, oh, but Oxy-M is a drug. Well, first of all, you know what Oxy-M means, okay? Oxy is O, big O, X-I, big M. Oxy-M. stands, as I said before, I don't know if I said it on your show or not, it stands for oxymoron, okay? Because it's an oxymoron that without drugs, without anything that has any reaction, any effect on the physiology of the body, because that's what is the definition of a drug, anything that has altered the physiology of the body and causes certain reaction to effect. Right.
So what they're saying that effectively or essentially that you haven't been, your device, your laser device wasn't FDA approved for what you use it for because they wouldn't approve it, and therefore they're saying that you are, that it's mislabeled, right?
No, they're not even, well, yeah, but FDA can get into play only if you're selling it. If you're selling the device, that is adulterated, okay, or if you're selling the drugs that are mixed, so they're adulterated. If you're selling them, then FDA can come in and say, these are the manufacturing rule, you're violating the manufacturing, your law is a manufacturer. But if you are treating patient with it and you're using it in your practice, okay, whether it is MD, ND, or D, or whatever, if you're using it, that becomes...
Oh, I get it. Oxy-M is what you call your dye.
Yeah, because I'm mixing saline with the dye, and I call it Oxy-M. It's an oxymoron because
Okay.
the help of the laser can kill the cancer without any drug reaction. It's just a very simple thing. That's why I call it.
And they're claiming that... okay, all right. So they're saying that you claim that you use that liquid. Okay, I get it.
Since it's somewhere on page 7 or so, it says...
It's on page 22 right now.
Well, somewhere in there it says, there's a paragraph that says, since it's used in conjunction with the laser to treat cancer, it is therefore a drug.
Because they say the definition of a drug they claim in the paperwork is anything that is used to diagnose, treat, or prevent a disease. Okay? But you have to have, that is the use of a drug, is not the definition.
Oh, yeah. So they're the ones that are saying it's a drug, not you.
Right. That's what they are.
But all it is a dye so that you can see the affected area.
It's not that I can see. So the
laser, right.
Laser light can be absorbed because...
Right. I'm sorry, yeah.
That's okay. That laser light is not really absorbed in any significant amount by human tissue, so it really dissipates and it doesn't do anything. But the dye that is kept, retained in the tumor absorbs the light and it creates enough heat to kill the tumor. That's all.
Right.
It's a very simple thing.
Targets the heat.
But because it's used, their excuse is because it's used to treat the disease, so therefore it's a drug. No,
and you want to hear something that I think that you should highlight here, Dr. C, is they claim here on page 22, overview of scheme, because Oxy-M is heated to treat, cure, or mitigate cancer. So they're saying that.
That it's a drug. But
it's a drug, right.
But
they're also saying you cure cancer. No, I'm just kidding. They're insinuating that you cure cancer.
Yeah, and then they say it's a false, I'm selling false hope. But then they're saying you're using it to cure cancer, but it's a false hope. But see, it is not, because...
You know where they got that? That goes back 3 years. That's the same phrase that was used in the lawsuit. That's the same phrase that Lori Fulbright used on her news story 2-3 years ago. It's been repeated over and over. It's one of their sound bites.
Yeah, the false hope, which actually applies.
It proves that it's all connected. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is it proves that chemoradiation is selling false hope because they tell you they can cure you, and in fact they kill you.
Well, so what they're saying is you are fraudulent because the FDA come and approved and said that these treatments in conjunct together, that even though that laser is fully functioning laser that you can buy, that isn't, it wasn't like you didn't buy it off the, you didn't buy it off the internet, in some back alley. You bought it from, But what they're saying is because they didn't come in and they didn't say that this thing is now in conjunction with the dye now cures cancer and gives you FDA approval as
But see, the point that I was trying to tell them, because they said to me, well, is the leash therapy approved? Okay. FDA does not approve methodology. FDA, leash therapy is a methodology combining something that is not a drug and a laser that is low power and does nothing on its own. I treat cancer. That is a methodology. It's in the category of medical practice. There is no jurisdiction of FDA.
All right, well, stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back. I can't hear the bumper, but anyways, welcome back to Against the Wall. I'm joined, I got Dr. Carpenter from Lays Med Inc. here with Randy Simmons, and we're talking about, what happened this week, or did you just get this, I know you contacted everybody. Look, forgive me, but I've been really busy this weekend.
Oh, it's a blur for us. It's the
You'll
raid
have to
happened.
tell me what. I know that sometime a few days ago that you had sent out a message, and I can only vaguely recall what.
Well, what it was, okay, I sent out a message on some Skype contacts last week, and basically said that there's some other developments that have happened since the raid.
Right.
And the raid happened on July 11th, which, by the way, 711, if anybody's into occult numerology, and that's an Illuminati number. But anyway, aside from that, and I looked up, and there is an association between 711 and the blacking out of the sun, which is kind of ironic because Dr. Carpenter's logo is a sun. See? So, yeah, they blacked out the sun on 711. Anyway.
And it's a red sun, and the reason why it's a red sun is not only the sun rising, the dawn of a new era, but also because we use red light.
Right.
But that was July 11th, and then a few days later.
That's not why you messaged me.
The reason that I messaged was because this affidavit that has all of these legal reasons why they supposedly should go in, and in other words, the reason for the raid came out officially about a week after the raid actually happened. Because only when the news channel in Tulsa ran this story did we get to see this 28-page document. Because, see, they didn't provide it to Dr. Carpenter. They only gave her the warrant, and we had to find it the hard way, following the news channels. And I mean, this story, I'm not even going to put up a link to the story because it's absolute, it's horrible. But we had basically a lot of things to say about this affidavit. That, the only way that we're able to legally get the FDA involved in this was by presenting 4 or 5 really big lies.
The only way FDA could justify the raid, okay? The only way they could justify the raid is by lying about what was going on at our location. By lying our activities of making a jurisdiction of FDA. Otherwise, what we were doing was not jurisdiction of FDA at all. It could have been the interest of the medical board, but in Oklahoma, the medical board does not have any authority to investigate and harass anybody that runs alternative homeopathic holistic medicine. Okay, they don't have that authority.
And we didn't have all this information those first few days after the raid because, when it happened, I messaged Jimmy, a couple other people, right? And I said, dude, you listen to this. This is unreal. And within a day, we heard from you, we heard from Popeye, we heard from some other people, and we did some appearances over the next 3 days on these different Orion shows. But then we found out more information about why it happened, how they were able to pull it off. And since then, we haven't been able to come back on different Orion shows to talk about it. So that's kind of why.
Not only that, they call it an investigation or whatever they call it, raid. So they raid to get information from us as an investigation. Well, when it's investigation, you do not steal the money. You do not take everything. You ask for records, but that's it. Not take everything so we cannot function. That's one thing. And then what we got is the call from a newspaper guy, a news guy in Arkansas who's always been a close friend of the crooked politician turned attorney that ran that awful trial, unconstitutional trial. I was a friend of his that called and tried to get an interview from us. We knew who he was, we forgot, totally ignored him. And then he ran a story, and then he contacted, obviously, the TV station in Tulsa, and then Gestapo Helga had her story, and that's how we got the affidavit. And then after that, the paper in Owasso published an article that there were illegal activity going on at our office. So the landlord threw us out. So we don't have an office anymore because he said that it came to her attention that we were running. See, it came to her attention that there were illegal activity going on at our location without even investigating anything, nothing. Okay,
and might as well had a meth lab in there or something.
Right,
you know,
and that's how we were. That's how we were treated. And then she gave us 5 days, and we said, "Hey, no way.
That's illegal.
The law states at least 10 days, and which is already ridiculous because those are allegations that are wrong. So we took the 10 days, but it still was in a rush. We couldn't take everything out. It's been a disaster. That's what has been since the raid. Things have gotten worse and worse instead of better.
She's been turning business away. She's had, how many, 3 or 4 different people call, and you've had to say, no, sorry, can't handle it, can't do it, because they took all my equipment.
Yeah. So
they shut you down.
Yeah. Basically,
effectively shut her down.
Basically, I cannot make a living. And then what happened is, we have that petition that you and others have signed.
Because people forget you used to work in the defense industry.
Right. And I was a whistleblower, and I ended up homeless for being a whistleblower back then. But now...
Well, it kind of puts things in perspective. They're like, well, how did you get to be your age and and this is your live? Well, because she had you lost your career.
Yeah. And this is not the first time. I mean, it's been happening all my life when I put out something. And it's happened before.
You think it goes back that far, Dr. Carpenter?
I think what?
Do you think this goes back that far?
Well,
as far as
it's all the same thing over and over, the same behavior. First I was working for IBM, and I reported some really dishonest activity, ended up fired, but I got another job, so I didn't end up in the street, although it was a close call then too. And then I moved to work for the defense industry, and that's what happened in Denver at Martin Marietta. Now Martin Marietta is no more, is being absorbed by Lockheed, but Martin Marietta was, really.
But you were still a laser expert back then, right? That was your field, right?
Right. And that's how I got exposed to the new semiconductor lasers. And I had to work and approve them, and there were problems. And, of course, they didn't listen to me. They didn't listen to me and what I was telling them to do. And what they did, they destroyed a $250,000 lot of new semiconductor laser because they mishandled it, didn't follow what I told them to do. Can you believe that?
No, what? And the thing of it is I just want, just cold off the street, people wonder why, Dr. Carpenter, she's not a real doctor, but what is her expertise with lasers? Well, here it is. She worked with it. And I just want people to know that you didn't just one day go, oh, I know, I'll buy a laser.
Here's another thing.
Well, and that's another thing. What do you mean I'm not a real doctor?
No, I'm sorry.
That's what people say.
Let me say this, though.
Because you didn't get it. Right, okay. I get it.
This is important because what you just said, it's an important point. A lot of people in the truth community, if the only thing that they know about health-related conspiracies comes down a particular channel, and it's 2 names that are going to be involved. One is Joe Mercola. The other one is Mike Adams, who was basically connected to Alex Jones. If those 2 people haven't mentioned them, then basically 98% of the truth community says, okay, this is bogus. This can't be legitimate.
Because I haven't been mentioned by them, and there is a reason why I haven't, because I affected their pocketbook.
But I'm just trying to draw the connection.
But see,
lasers.
But what that, yeah.
And also the fact that you are a whistleblower in the defense industry, that they destroyed your life then, and that maybe, you know,
I don't know.
they want to finish the job. I don't know. I just...
Yeah. Because that came...
Hey, welcome back to Against the Wall. Here at the Orion Talk Radio.
Sorry, JJ. I get a little overzealous sometimes, and I just go talking and talk right into the break. Yeah.
That's all right, man. I know when they're supposed to be there, but it's still, you gotta know, you gotta be able to hear the music to know that it's actually there.
Exactly. Yeah, and happened to us yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't hear the music at all.
Well, it's probably Skype, because when the show started, it was just fine.
Oh, really? No, for us, yesterday was wrong all along from the very beginning. It was just awful. Couldn't hear anything. But it seems to happen to us all the time. I don't know. Maybe the trolls have some special powers. Okay, when our show comes on.
Let me say hi to my friends Julie and Pam. They're in the chat right now.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, Julie was on our show yesterday. She's a writer, Julie Mitchell. She
was on our show.
She actually has some. Yeah, she has some interesting articles about.
And then she went to that other show. She was guest. Okay. But anyway, what I wanted to say something is, because something that this comes up all the time, especially from the idiot trolls, is she's not a doctor. She's not a real doctor. Okay, let me try to explain something in case people don't know. I think most people do, but just in case. Doctor is the title you get when you have a postgraduate degree. You go for a philosophy doctor degree and you're called doctor. It does not in any way, shape, or form mean just medical doctor. Actually, the medical doctors are the least people that should be called doctors, because they do not have to write a thesis for their PhD, for their degree. They do not have to write a thesis. They just do hospital practice, and they start practice on people. That's how they do it. There is no thesis. Everybody else with a title of doctor, they have had to have a thesis, okay? And it's original work. So that's a lot more complicated.
Ben Bernanke's a doctor, isn't he? Dr. Ben Bernanke.
Frankenstein was a doctor. Right.
But I'm just saying, it means
Martin Luther King.
But that depends on what type of degree you have.
Right,
now,
right. You have a doctorate?
Going back to Einstein, who was a physicist, but he never had a formal degree because he just was not. His mind was somewhere else, and he could not sit and get a normal training in ordinary schools. That doesn't change the fact that he was a physicist, okay? But Einstein said that the real physicist is a theoretical physicist. The others, experimental, not real physicists. That's what he said, okay? I am a physicist, and physics studies the events of the universe. And in my particular case, I always was interested in involving lasers. That was my choice. You have different things you can look into, and of course, solid-state physics, and then that led to the new, what they call cool lasers. So it's all connected. I always had an involvement with lasers, but I am a theoretical physicist. And one of my professors one time said, it's correct. He said, having a PhD in physics means you have a license to learn. That means I could learn medicine anytime, because medicine is nothing more than a memorization exercise. That's all it is. And I've been studying medicine for 28 years now, since I got into this project. So there is very little that can throw in my face, especially to Canada. What does a physicist know? A physicist can know anything that concerns the universe, and medicine is part of the universe, and medicine cannot violate the laws of the universe. So it's all covered by physics too, and that's the connection. So when people say, what does a physicist know about medicine? Is more likely to know more than a physician about it. The fact that I picked accidentally the laser issue in medicine to treat cancer. That is just purely accidental. It just happened. I never had an interest in medicine. I never wanted to get involved in medicine, and least of all, I wanted to deal with physicians. But I was working with laser, and something came up that explained certain things, and I brought into the mess of medicine. And the problem, the reason why I stuck into this, even though I didn't like it, is because I found out what they were doing to people that have the misfortune of developing cancer, which is not that big of a deal if it's handled properly. But people get from left to right because it's not handled properly. And what I discovered is the way to handle it properly. And that puts me in a very bad position because I couldn't live with myself for letting it go. I knew it could make a big difference with people, and I couldn't let it go. And they said, oh, well, she made all... I didn't make any money. That's why I'm in this position right now. I only tried to cover the cost. And I didn't make anything.
None of us have ever been well off as a result of this. We kept our houses, we kept our families going, but now here we are looking at burger jobs. You know,
yeah, if we had made
it's horrible.
Well, if
I'm too old to flip burgers.
Man, you're so old. If you don't eat, you might die, dude.
Well, I'm not that old.
I'm just kidding.
But you know, there are people that are saying, "Where's the proof? Where's the proof?" Here's the thing, and for the newcomers, we're not talking about this yet. That there is lots of proof out there as far as what Dr. Carpenter does. In the trial that they had over a year ago, it's a whole other show in itself. The measures that these people, these connected individuals, went to make her proof disappear. Okay, she brought in witnesses. One of them was an MD who had breast tumors treated. Her sworn witnesses, they went to deposition, sworn in, gave testimony. At the last minute, first they tried to make out that they didn't exist, that there was no defense testimony. Oh, we brought them on the radio. Okay, yeah, made us think about it. They do exist. Then right before the trial date, they decided that
fake trial,
that these are prejudicial and they all should be excluded from record. Basically took all your evidence and shoved it under the rug and said we can't allow the jury to hear it.
They have picture of results. I mean, they are on our website, and they are pretty hard to deny. Plus the interview of the patient. Plus I have a lot of other evidence, and I still have it.
And look, here's the deal. This is why, look, man, Dr. Carpenter, Randy, we're friends to the end. Against the wall, JJ, me, James Freeland. I'll ride the river with you. Because, look, we all have, there's just has to, like I said before, we're all being crushed. We're all being poisoned. It's all of us. And you never go to Dr. C's website, Dr. Carpenter's practice or anything, and you're never going to see vaccine signs or pharmaceutical signs. You're never going to see Dr. Sanjay Gupta on a 60-inch HD TV trying to talk you into getting a flu shot or chemo or whatever. And that's why I support you, and that's why we all should.
Yeah.
For that reason alone.
Because there is no need for any of it. There is no need whatsoever for any of it. Chemo, radiation, mutilation do not solve anything. All they do is spread the cancer. Cancer does not metastasize if you leave it alone. It stays there and keeps growing unless you stop it. But it does not go all over the place because if you leave it alone. But if you start poking it, cutting it, use radiation that causes additional cancer, use drugs that cause additional cancer. Ivy.
As long as it'll go away if you don't scratch it, then all of a sudden you've got it all over your body.
Right. So,
and there's millions that can agree that know what the horror of chemo and radiation is. But the problem is there's too many of us.
How come millions of people aren't
screaming
professionally appalled by chemotherapy?
That's what they're there for.
They're professionally appalled by leash therapy. They're professionally appalled by high-grade cannabis oil. They're professionally appalled by, other extracts.
Their career is appalled.
But they won't be professionally appalled by people going in, getting chemo, losing their hair, getting gutted, having all their internal organs taken away, and then being sent home to die on morphine. That you're not appalled by that at all.
No, they're not.
Strength
that
in numbers and strength in the lies that they all back up.
And let me tell you something. There are certain cases, and I have faced it over the years, where the tumor, for some reason, usually after surgery, ends up wrapped around the major vessel. Okay? It's either on the neck, could be, we got a break.
We're hearing you.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep, I did know this break was coming in, and I did hear it.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, guys. Yes, we'll be back right after this with our final segment with my good friend, Dr. Carpenter. Randy Simmons here at the Orion Talk Radio Network. Okay, last segment, Against the Wall, againsthewall.info. Got a donate button there. You could hit that. Donate to the radio show.
RMSawareness.org.
Yeah, you can. People forget that I'm the poster boy for
and chairman of the board.
Oh, am I? Oh, I didn't.
He's chairman of the board.
I'm chairman of the board over there at the Wrestling
Special Session
Awareness Foundation.
It's just epidemic.
Okay, let's get serious. We were talking about cancers wrapped around.
Right. And what I was saying is when the the tumor is wrapped around the major vessel, it could be in the neck, the carotid, the jugular, or it could be somewhere else in the body, wrapped around the major vessel, there is nothing they can do for you because you cannot operate and remove the tumor. It will kill you because it affects the vessel. They cannot use radiation. A chemo is not going to do much of anything. So
except kill living cells.
Right. That's the mentality of the chemo is that it kills everything, but they hope that the cancer will be more sensitive to the poison than healthy tissue, and they're hoping that the cancer will die before you do. That's all is the philosophy.
Yeah, but there's no one appalled by that.
Right. No one gets and said, what? What are you doing to us? No. But laser, oh my God, that's terrible. Really? Anyway, and because ours low power laser doesn't affect anything except the tumor that retain the stain, because healthy tissue, it's water. It will not retain it. Now, the tumor retains anything because it's just has a difficulty eliminating. All the energy goes into growth, and so has a difficulty eliminating waste, so the stain will remain there longer. Will remain there, and in the healthy tissue does not. So only the tumor will heat up and die. Is nothing going to happen to the blood vessel or anything around it. So that's the only way we're the only ones that can treat those type of cancer. The standard establishment said, there's nothing we can do about it. We're going to make you send you home and make you comfortable with morphine because the pain is considerable. And that's all they do. Help you die sooner than you would otherwise.
Yeah.
That's what they can do.
And I've seen it so many times. It's just really, every person I've loved in my life in the last 20 years.
And nobody gets incensed about that? Nobody has a fit and say, yeah. But, isolated people cannot accomplish much. We have to be united in doing something.
JJ was talking about this first hour because I heard him. He was talking about how the potential is there for so much unity and people to come together and actually make a difference. But so many times you'll see one thing in somebody's website or on their Facebook page or whatever that completely turns you off. And like you said, irreconcilable difference, just a wall that pops up.
But they do it intentionally.
Right. It's to divide and conquer. Yeah, to divide and conquer.
Right. Anyway, so Randy, you said you wanted to talk about that.
Speaking of divide and conquer, right. Speaking of divide and conquer, this is something that people need to come together on right now because this is FDA tyranny. This is the example. This is the real-life example of FDA tyranny happening right now is what happened to Dr. Carpenter on July 11th. And there is a petition. And actually, it's been doing better this week as far as getting signatures out there. And I just put it up on chat.
What I didn't do was repost it to all my friends, which I'll do this week.
And a lot of it, since we got 1 hour, we're here talking a mile a minute and trying to cover things quickly. And some of it might have been glazed over. Some of it might have come out garbled. But the synopsis of everything over the last 3 years that's happened is there on that petition page, starting from the trial, then the co-intels, the trolls that have followed Dr. Carpenter for 3 years, the stuff that you find on Google. It's all connected. These people are all connected to the political organization that made this happen.
Okay.
So
I'm sure Barb Hartwell's all of a sudden now she's involved. They made her. They picked the wrong hornet, the wrong nest to nudge.
Yeah, they picked on her. They targeted her, flooding her with messages and things like that on her blog, and also Howard Nima over at Truth Broadcast Network. They hit him.
You know what? Again, another example of how we just can't be. We have to be less concerned with I can't be associated with this person, or I've read something about them, or
right. Yeah, they read the wrong things. Yeah.
If all you read was page 1 of Google, you're seeing the co-intels, because that's what they are. They're there to do that exact thing, and they have people pushing their articles, SEO people. They're in there manipulating.
And they're always the same 3 stories. We got so many. More patients that are talking about their experience. So they only have those 3 cases and can pushing and giving misleading information, so people will get attracted to that. But can they tell that there are the same 3 people that are being exposed for the past 3 years? It's the same stories. But there are other patients that keep coming forth, and they are new ones all the time. And they were anyway. Now.
So where's the petition? It's at petitions.org.
It's at change.org. I put the link up on your chat board just a minute ago, but if they want, they can go to change.org and just put Dr. Carpenter in the search box. And what they will find, here you go, what they will find is Dr. Carpenter's petition and a petition that was started a couple of weeks ago by the co-intel witch with a B herself, who has started a petition to file criminal charges against Dr. Carpenter. She's not satisfied with having her life taken away, her business shut down, her family destitute, and everything. This has been our lives for the last 6-7 years, right? Now we're all having to start. Yeah, you've been yours for 30 or more, and now this woman is not satisfied. She is trying to get a petition raised to file criminal charges against Dr. Carpenter, and it's the title of the petition is "Tell the FDA to return the stolen property."
Ours. Yes, ours is.
Right.
Our petition says that. Return the stolen property.
Hers
That's the only one I see, so.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's appalling. It just really is. Because
they took it under false pretenses.
The story this woman keeps pushing is the same story that the trial last year used as their key witness testimony. They brought this widower into the courtroom, and they basically had him give a abridged version what happened. They totally eliminated one big piece of the equation when they made their blog articles and his court testimony and the TV articles even that had him on camera. They didn't mention that the woman had a second form of cancer that Dr. Carpenter never treated.
Right.
It wasn't conducive to their agenda. They couldn't bring that up.
That
shows the
that's
disgust.
Your lawyer, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
you weren't represented properly at all.
And we were sabotaged. What do you mean not represented properly? I changed it 3 attorneys, and they all did the same thing because they were bribed by the other side. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And because they were saying, I never offered evidence of deposition of people that would say they were okay. And so when I countersued him, my attorney, for not submitting the evidence, failing to submit the deposition, then that's when the court decided, oh yeah, we have him, but they're not going to be allowed. So it's all a crooked, disgusting, crooked. You cannot call it anything else but conspiracy, trying to put an end to something. And would they go through all that trouble if they didn't realize that what I do works?
Right.
If they thought I was another quack pushing some nonsense on snake oil, how can you be snake oil when it's a laser? I have no idea. But that's what they called us to. If it were the case, they wouldn't spend all that money and effort to attack us. They wouldn't.
No, they just have you shut down.
Right, but instead they shut me down because I damaged their interest. I worked for 28 years on this without any money from any side, no federal grant, no tax money ever went into this. And it was still developed, and it will make a difference because the cost of treating cancer will not be terrible at all.
Yeah. It's not $1 million or whatever.
That's not even, even going to Brzezinski used to be $150,000. I don't know what it is now. You get different. Used to be $75,000. Now I heard it's $150,000.
Even that's crazy.
Yeah. And
if you can help someone, you have to. And then $75,000, $150,000, $200,000 later, only to send them home to die on morphine.
Yeah. That's absolutely absurd. And mine is just a fraction of, I said, is 1/3 of one injection of chemo.
Yeah. And that's why,
and that's
why we're friends, Dr. Carpenter. And that's why I had you on my show before you even had a show on Orion. I love you guys. And I hope for the best.
I don't know.
I just really think that, we all need to, look, I say it all the time. They don't care about us. We got to care about each other.
Yeah, we got to help each other because we help. I mean, I get people that call me and say how happy they are, and that's what I want to hear.
That's the important thing. Thank you, Dr. Carpenter. Randy Simple Saints.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate it.
Saturday afternoon at 5, right? Eastern?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
5 Eastern.
Wake
up.
Down the rabbit hole, with Popeye here at the Orion Talk Radio Network. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today.
Thanks.
Sign the petition, folks.